Welcome to the Fitness Industry Success Show. Ideas, inspiration, and interviews to take your fitness business to the next level. With over 23 years of fitness industry experience and the founder of LEADLION, an innovative fitness marketing agency, here's your host, Nick Parker.
And welcome everybody to another episode of the Fitness Industry Success Show. I'm here today with Leanna Vance. She is in-house here at our company LEADLION, and she is an amazing marketer, but she's going to be helping me host today with a Q&A session. So we have a bunch of questions from viewers, subscribers, or just fitness business owners that have questions. And so we're going to be answering those questions today and doing our best to help you overcome those issues. So, Lena, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. How about you, Nick?
Oh, I'm doing good. I'm excited about this show.
Yeah.
We took a hiatus for a little while from the Fitness Industry Success Show because things got so busy, but now we're ramping up again and we're excited. We've got some good guests lined up coming up too, right?
Yep, we do. Now
excited.
We're back up and running.
Back up and running. So I'm looking forward to it. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into the questions and get these answered.
Let's get to it. So first question. I have two gyms about 15 miles apart in a suburban area with a good amount of competition. Over the last few years, our lead volume from advertising has gone down considerably. What are the best ways to get leads back up again?
Okay, so there's several things that you want to look at here that you want to audit. Number one is, have you been running the same offer over and over again throughout the entire year? Like every January you run the same offer, every August you run the same offer. So what you want to do is you want to be a little bit more disruptive. You don't have to change the offer entirely, but you need to change the way it's positioned, the way it's worded, the way it looks. So if you're running zero enrollment all the time, it's definitely time to change that offer. So that's going to be one thing. I would run something a lot more aggressive to get your lead volume up and cast a wider net. So maybe like an extended pass, value stack the offer to where you have, for example, instead of just zero enrollment, maybe zero enrollment, first month free, and tack on like a 2 or 3 day pass on the front of that. So you're casting a wider net, you're value stacking, include more amenities. So if you have like upgraded memberships, where you have like recovery zones or recovery modalities or things like that, include that in there, PT, whatever. But value stack it, you've got to have a disruptive offer. The other thing you want to look at is, what channels are you talking about? If you're looking at the history, advertising tends to get a little bit more expensive over time. It's not outrageous. We're still seeing, $1, $2, $3, $5 leads on social channels right now for advertising. But maybe your ad costs have just gone up. And so maybe look at the efficiency of your marketing efforts there. And lastly, I would say, are you spending the same amount of money? Because if you're spending the same amount of money as you were 5 years ago, maybe you just need to spend a little bit more. But if your cost per lead has gone up substantially, that could be an issue. That's reflective of like the offer, the creative, ad fatigue. People are tired of seeing your ads because you're not mixing things up, changing your messaging, things like that. So hopefully that helps. All right, what else?
Next question. I have 5 health clubs and get close to 1,000 leads a month, but membership sales are slow. What are the best practices for turning leads into members?
Okay, so you don't necessarily have a lead flow problem. What you have is a conversion problem, right? So it really depends like where these leads coming from. You ever see the a lot of the websites that'll have like a membership gate. So if you go to a website, you want to see their membership prices, you have to put in your name and your email to be able to see their membership prices. Those are like the worst leads ever. Those are just tire kickers
like
shopping.
Contact to get info or something like that.
Yeah, those are not good leads because they're just trying to see the price wall. They're going through the price wall. So you can get 1,000 of those, and those convert at like less than 2% or something like that. So typically, there's always exceptions. But that's something you want to look at, like what are your lead gen channels. So if you're running like Facebook ads, Instagram ads, TikTok ads, Google ads, YouTube ads, all these different channels, and you're getting leads coming in and you're getting 1,000 of them and you're not converting them, then there's a follow-up problem. There's a back-end infrastructure problem. So what you'd want to look at is follow-up. We tell everyone to follow up once, twice, 100 times, right?
Yeah.
at least 21 times.
Yeah.
Over the course of the first few weeks, but the first 24 hours are really critical. You have to have a super strong follow-up system in place to convert advertising leads. Let's talk. What we should talk about right now is the fact that people are at different stages of the buying cycle, right? So you have a certain percentage, let's call it 10 to 20%, that may be actively shopping, and that fluctuates throughout time of year.
Yeah.
January and back to school time in like the fall are the two highest intent times a year when people are looking and shopping for a membership. So you're going to have higher conversion rates during those times because intent's higher. Then you have this middle group, which is kind of like they're a little, how'd I go? Whatever. Yeah. They're kind of like, I want to get in shape. I want to feel good. I want to go to the gym and live this lifestyle, but I don't want to make the change. I don't want to change my diet, and I don't want to feel sore, and I don't want to go through the intimidation factor of starting a new program or a fitness program. And so what happens is you have this middle ground of which is probably a large majority of the people that have the desire but don't have the willpower or the intent. And when your advertising comes through and it triggers something, they get interested and excited about it, they're going to opt in. But then that next day, the emotion wears off, and if you haven't followed up fast enough, they're cold, right? And it's going to be hard to convert that lead. And then you have the bottom, like 10, 20%. They're just never, no matter what you do, they're never going to work out. You got somebody that lives on a 30-acre farm 20 miles out, and they're just never going to go to the gym. So you got all these different groups. So I would say that when you're focused on lead gen, that top, the high intent leads, and then also that middle ground where you have to have a really strong follow-up system. I don't like to use the word. What's the A word I always use? Aggressive.
Oh, aggressive.
I don't know what you were thinking of, but I don't like to use the word aggressive, but I like to use the word diligent. So diligent follow-up. Which means contact them within the first 5-10 minutes, again like an hour later, again later on that evening, and then you have a really strong cadence and a sequence of follow-up that includes the phone, includes text messages, and includes emails going to that lead, right? Have you opted into anything recently where you got followed up with? Like, can you think of anything?
Yeah. Whenever I was shopping, I added something to my cart and I left it. And so then I got a text. It was like, here's like 15% off. Go get back to your cart.
Yeah.
Like, don't lose it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that happened to me not too long ago. I got a new GoPro not that long ago, and I did the same thing. I added it to the cart. When I added it to the cart and I left and I didn't come back, all of a sudden all the retargeting ads were get like 20% off or 10%. It was something like that. And then if you click that, you get the promo code immediately. So it's bringing you back to cart. That's a good example of that. So follow up, being aggressive, being diligent, not aggressive, diligent. Aggressive is the wrong word. You come across spammy if you're aggressive. Okay, cool. All right, so what's the next question?
All right, next question. We run a lean staff, so the front desk doubles as salespeople. What advice would you give to gym owners who have front desk staff selling memberships?
Okay, this is a really common thing that happens in the industry ever since 2020. So people started running on really lean staffs, whether you're a gym that's got thousands of members or a studio with like hundreds of members. People started relying on front desk staff instead of having dedicated sales teams. And there's nothing wrong with that except for the fact that they're not being trained. So what has to happen is when a front desk person comes on, a couple of things that I think about right away is, are they incentivized to sell? Is there a motivation to do it, or is it just kind of one of their tasks that they're going throughout the day? If they're incentivized to do it, there's going to be a lot more effort put into the sales side of things. The other thing that I think about is training. When you onboard a front desk person, they typically learn how to check someone in, how to answer the phone, maybe how to give a tour, but there's not a lot of sales training. And you can't neglect your salespeople. They're like the lifeblood of your business, right? So if you're having your front desk staff sell memberships, what I would do is teach them everything from how to answer the phone and control that conversation, how to handle a walk-in and to control that conversation, how to give a proper tour, and then how to do a proper price presentation to make sure that they're fully equipped and well-trained, and then doesn't stop there. It's not like, you train them and you're done. You know, like we don't ever stop training here. We're always learning and innovating and doing, taking things to the next level.
You've got to be constantly throwing like new things at them.
Yeah.
For them to be able to really learn and grow themselves.
Yeah, exactly. Because if they're not role playing, if they're not training on a regular basis, if they're not constantly like in it, they're not going to do it. And then you also have to build conviction. So like. Conviction would be for front desk staff is like, hey, look at all the lives you're changing. All these people that you signed up last month that are now on the path to a better, lifestyle. They're feeling better. Their families are, doing better, whatever. You have to build conviction. Look at past reviews, past testimonials, to build that belief that what I'm doing is important. What I'm doing is going to make a difference. So, invest time strategically into your front desk staff to become good salespeople. All right, cool. All right, we got a couple more, I think.
Yep. All right. So next one, I feel like I'm spinning my wheels with retention because we're signing up about the same amount of members that we're losing each month. What's the best way to keep members longer?
This is a really good one. There's so many different ways we can attack this. But one of the things that I would do first is find out what your NPS score is, your Net Promoter Score. There's a lot of tools out there that you can use to survey your members and find out what your NPS score is and see if it's good or bad and what the issues are on why people are leaving. Because I can make all the suggestions in the world, but you're kind of flying blind if you don't know why they're leaving, right? So you want to find out where people are at as far as satisfaction. Also do exit interviews or exit surveys, so when they leave, find out, what could we have done better? Why'd you cancel? And then there's also I moved away, and legitimate reasons, financial crisis or whatever, that you don't take into account on situations like that. But what I would suggest, it doesn't start, don't think about the cancellation and trying to save it. Think about the onboarding. Think about when that new member signs up, what's that experience? Typically when you go and sign up, what do you get? A digital agreement emailed to you as a confirmation, and that's it, right?
And you get your key card or whatever.
Yeah, even if now it's on the app. So maybe you get a key card. So if that's all you get, and then you never hear from them again, and then once in a while it's, hey, how are you? And nobody remembers your name, and it's just like really cold. You're just a number in the cog, the wheel, and it's really easy to cancel. But on the flip side, if you onboard somebody and they get some swag, maybe it's a gym bag or a t-shirt, they get water bottles, something like that. Maybe they get introduced to a trainer, maybe they get introduced to the manager, maybe they get an integration session where they learn how to use the equipment if they haven't used it before, maybe they get an evaluation, and they build relationships. Maybe they get introduced to a class, they take a class, and then the instructor in the class introduces them to 2 or 3 of those regulars that take the classes all the time and makes them feel comfortable and welcome, like the old show Cheers where everybody knows your name.
Yeah, so this is a funny story. Back home in Arkansas, my gym there, whenever I would miss a day, the GM or any employee, they would text me, they'd be like, you missed today, where were you at? Like literally, it was my birthday one day and they were like, happy birthday, birthday girl, but where's your birthday workout at?
Yeah,
Are you coming in? I was like, no, but
that's awesome.
It's a good way to build like that relationship, and it's very important for your employee, like your whole team, to just get to know everyone. Whether it's just like a, hey, what's your name?
Right,
like
exactly.
saying hi every day. That's very important, and that means something to someone.
Yeah, and I agree with that. And for those of you that are listening that maybe have like 5,000, 10,000 members, like there's no way we can do that. There's ways you can automate these touch points, and then just have really good training at your front desk, your instructors, to where your community of people, your members, you build a culture to where they're building relationships, and it's the staff and the members building relationships. So you're building that tight-knit community that really helps just get people integrated. So I would say start there. NPS scores, find out why people are leaving, revamp your onboarding process, make that a whole lot better, and then we'll go from there. So,
all right. My husband and I own 3 fitness studios and are thinking about selling. What should we be doing to get the business ready to sell and to get the best offer possible?
Oh, this is a great question. Been there, done that. As you know, for those of you that know my story, I've sold fitness businesses in the past that I owned, multiple location. And some of the things that they're going to be looking for is obviously the financials, because if someone's buying it, it's an investment opportunity, it's a business. It's either going to be a passion play or it's going to be an acquisition from another fitness business that wants to expand their reach, or it's going to be strictly an investment. So you're going to want to make sure your financials are dialed in, your books look good, they're nice and clean, you're showing profitability, and if you want to get the best possible offer, you're showing growth. If you are on a flatline trend or a downtrend, you're going to get a fire sale offer. If you're showing strong and steady growth, you're going to get a good offer. And typically in the industry, on the lower end, if you're doing like maybe $1 million or less or 1.5, you're going to get maybe a multiple of like 1 to 2, maybe 3 at top. And you can get higher multiples if you're a much bigger business. So I would say start there. The other thing is key person. So like, let's pretend I'm going to buy your business and I come in and you're running almost everything.
Yeah.
I can't buy that business because you don't come with the business unless you do come with the business, right? So one of the most important...
I mean, for an extra price, maybe.
For a little bit more, maybe. The biggest issue there is just making sure you have key people in place, so that way when the business transfers to the new owner, they don't miss a beat. Sales continue to happen. Memberships
it's an easy
continue
transition. Members don't feel weird with the new owners.
Right. There's still a point of contact. So make sure you have a key person in place. And I think they said they had three locations. So you should have maybe like a regional manager that's going to stay with the business, that's very well trained and well versed on how to run everything, and it makes that transition really smooth. So first, focus on your financials. Make sure that you have a steady line growth. You're pushing hard to show growth. Everything's nice and clean. Number 2, make sure you have a key person in place that comes with the business and it's well staffed, so that way the business can transition easily and smoothly without you. And then lastly, do inventory. Think about what's included in the sale, what's not included in the sale. There's going to be like PP&E, like equipment, fixtures, digital assets, like if you have a YouTube channel, things like that. That's all going to be negotiated and part of the process. So make sure that you're creating a list of that, all this stuff that's included in the sale, and you're really determining how that's going to be allocated and transferred. So. Cool. All right. I think that was the last question. So, guys, if you have, we like these Q&A shows once in a while just to give you guys some answers on some different things. Would love to help. So if you have questions, hello@leadlionmarketing.com. Just send your questions there and we'll add them to the list for next time. And until then, thanks for joining and tuning in. Make sure you like, share, subscribe if you got any value from the show, and we'll see you next time.